Hello, and welcome to Carly Talks Music. This is a weekly vlog where I choose to talk about something relating to music in some way, shape, or form. This week I'm going to talk to you guys about the importance of wearing earplugs at concerts. So first let's talk about how the ear works. Basically there are three parts of the ear. There's the outer, middle, and inner ear. And the way it works is sound vibrations come in, they get funneled in to the ear canal, they vibrate the eardrum, which then vibrates other little bones in your ear, which then eventually things keep vibrating until a message is sent to your brain, which helps you figure out, what the sound is, whether it's music or a door slamming or a dog barking or whatever. So when noise is too loud, it can damage the nerve endings on your inner ear, which are the things that eventually send the signals to your brain about what you're hearing. And so listening to something very loud for a prolonged period of time, which is usually what concerts are, it can cause damage to your hearing and can damage those nerves in your inner ear. And the problem, or the sad fact about it, is that that damage is permanent and is irreversible, hence permanent. Let's be redundant, shall we? Also, just know that you can't, toughen up your ears. You can't, if you're always going to concerts or whatever, and you don't wear earplugs, you are damaging your hearing. You're not toughening up your ears, because that's not how it works, unfortunately. If you want to know about how the ear works in more detail, I put a link in the little info box below the video on YouTube, and it has all of the, scientific terms for everything, and everything's pronounced correctly. I didn't want to embarrass myself, and I'm not a scientist, so go check out that video if you want a more detailed explanation of how the ear works and how we hear. So basically the reason I wanted to, or a couple of the reasons that made me want to talk about this with other people was, first reason that I really started wearing earplugs and looking for good earplugs to wear to concerts was because I went to a music education convention session where the speaker told us that basically by the time we're 50, the average person loses 50% of their hearing. 50%, that's half. That's a lot. So anything I can do to protect my hearing, I'm gonna do that. The second reason that I want to talk about it this week, or right now, is because I went to a concert, or a show in Austin for the 4th of July holiday, and it was effing loud. It was so loud. I'm glad I had my earplugs, but my friends that were around me, some of them, when it got to be too loud, they were literally standing there and I felt bad for them. I was like, you can't really enjoy the concert if you're having to hold your ears the whole time. You're muffling the sound, it's not sounding correct, it's just, I felt bad for them. Also, the concert was so loud, I guess we were so close to the stage and there were subwoofers close to us that when there was a lot of loud bass, you could feel, how the speakers, if they're loud enough, they kind of bump, you know what I'm talking about. And so that bump led to moving the air molecules around us, and so I could feel on my skin the amount of the bass just pushing all the air molecules into my skin. It was crazy. It was weird. And so if you think about the fact that I could feel it on my skin, what that was doing in terms of putting pressure and stuff on your eardrums, that's a lot, yeah? More than just your average sound. So let me talk to you about, choices you have when it comes to earplugs. So first you have just your regular foamy earplugs. These are called Heroes. I just picked them up at an H-E-B, or you can probably get any sort of, squishy foamy earplug at, a local convenience store or a grocery store. But, they're like this. If you can't get the nicer earplugs that I'm about to show you, then these will be what you need to do, or what would work. The problem with these, that I'll talk about why these other earplugs are even better, is that these muffle the sound, as well as when you get into higher frequencies, like higher notes, it almost literally blocks out the pitch. So I would recommend these earplugs if you can't get a hold of some, you know, higher tech earplugs, but these would be mostly for if you're on an airplane and you don't want to listen to music. It's like that awkward time between where you can listen to music and you can't because you have to turn off all electronic devices. Or if you have a snoring roommate or you have noisy neighbors and you need to sleep better, then I would go for these little fuzzy ones. You know, you roll them up and then you stick them in your ear and then they expand. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Alright. Okay, so the earplugs that I use when I go to shows are made by a company called Earplugs Research. Here's their little logo, if you can actually see that. It's hard to see because it's clear. This is the little case that they're in. And these are what the Earplugs earplugs look like. Alright, I put a link to their website as well as a specific link to the specific type of earplugs that I use. And the reason I use these is because, first of all, they're made by people that study hearing, you know? And what's cool about these, I'm going to try to explain it even though these are like super tiny and I don't know if you can see them really, but the way that they're made, it funnels the sound and equalizes the levels of everything so that the music may sound quieter, but it still sounds like if you were listening to it through headphones or something. So it blocks out anything that's too high pitched that's probably not good for your ears, or too loud and for a prolonged period of time. I love these earplugs. I lose them a lot though, so I have to buy, they're about $12. I know it seems expensive, but if you get a lot of good use out of them, I love them. And like, I wouldn't, whenever I go to a show and I forget my earplugs or I've lost them and haven't bought a new pair, I'm always really angry at myself because the next day, you know, you're sitting there like you can't hear anything because your ears are ringing and everything sounds, you know, like a half step higher than it normally does, and you're just like, why didn't I bring my earplugs? And yeah, so these are amazing, and I recommend that if you're someone who wants to go to a concert, not damage your hearing, but still hear everything as it's supposed to sound, buy these. Like, for real. I love them very much. And I pretty much don't go to a concert without them. I started buying a couple of pairs at a time so that once I lose a pair, then I always have a backup. But these are my last ones right now, so I need to buy more. Anyways, like I said, I put a link to the website for Earplugs Research, as well as the specific link for the specific earplugs that I have if you want to buy your own. They come in a few, or maybe just two different sizes, just a regular and a large. I have tiny ears, so I just have to get the smallest size. But, you know, it is what it is. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and it was educational, and you'll start wearing earplugs when you go to shows, especially indoor shows. Outdoor, you have a little more leeway. It's not quite as loud unless you're like right at the front, but especially for indoor shows and small venues. Thanks again for watching. My dog Misty wanted to say hi, so this is my dog Misty. Say hi, Misty.